the rest of the news, with the rise of the anti-government philosophy of the Tea Party and the emergence of powerful billionaires like the Koch brothers who do everything they can to destroy regulations, particularly on their own businesses, libertarian has become a buzzword of sorts on the right. But how much do all these self-described libertarians actually know about real libertarianism? The other day I had former Congressman from Texas, Ron Paul, on this program, and we got into an interesting conversation about how a libertarian society would keep corporations, particularly polluting corporations, in check. That conversation started with Congressman Paul describing how pollution is just a simple violation of property rights, the foundation of a libertarian society.
The system that you defined, I don't know of anything perfect, but I think what we have today, when you can buy carbon credits and buy them and allow people to pollute, a strict property rights program would prevent that from happening. You can't do that. You have no right to pollute. It's a property right. Most people can understand it if you're talking about your next door neighbor. Everybody knows he can't come and just dump his garbage in your yard. That would quit.
Congressman Paul then explained how a libertarian society would use the courts to protect those property rights, or your property rights, from having a corporation pollute your air. How do you enforce that right of my right to the property of my own body not being damaged by others putting their externalities into the environment?
You set certain standards, by previous cases. If a person is held responsible, then the next go around, they're going to have to pay attention to this.
Senator Paul, you were one of 15 Republicans to vote for an amendment which states that human activity contributed to climate change. President Obama has announced an aggressive plan to cut carbon emissions. At the same time, energy production in America has boomed. Is it possible to continue this boom and move toward energy self-sufficiency while at the same time pursuing a meaningful climate change program?
The first thing I would do as president is repeal the regulations that are hampering our energy that the president has put in place, including the Clean Power Act. While I do think man may have a role in our climate, I think nature also has a role. The planet's 4.5 billion years old. We've been through geologic age after geologic age. We've had times when the temperature's been warmer. We've had times when the temperature's been colder. We've had times when the carbon in the atmosphere has been higher. So I think we need to look before we leap. The president's often fond of saying he wants a balanced solution. But really, we do need to balance both keeping the environment clean. We will have some rules for that. But we got to balance that with the economy. He's devastated my state. I say the president's not only destroying Kentucky, he's destroying the Democrat Party down there because nobody wants to associate with him. So what we really need is somebody that understands that we do need energy of all forms. And that means we will have solar and wind and hydro, but we will still have coal and we still will have natural gas. And we've got to have an all-of-the-above policy. But it would be a mistake to shut down all of our industries in the coal fields and shut down the coal-powered plants. If we did so, we're going to have a day where we wake up and some of our big cities are either very cold or very hot. So I think it's a big danger and we shouldn't do it. And what we should do is say we want all of the above. We want to free up the energy sector and let people produce, let them drill, let them explore.
Thank you, sir.
The United States is poised to become energy independent. For decades, our country relied heavily on imports, making us vulnerable to hostile regimes and supply disruptions. Today, creativity and competition are driving our domestic energy sector forward, allowing the U.S. to access abundant resources here at home. Washington's bureaucratic regulations, corporate subsidies, and excessive taxation have made it difficult for energy developers to take advantage of these new forms of cheap and clean energy. If we encourage energy freedom and new technologies, we can lower energy costs for families, small businesses, and American industry. Washington politicians and bureaucrats must stop limiting our energy choices so domestic energy production can grow.